Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the NWR Virtual Investor Conference Series 11. I'm your host today, Banjo Blake. And next up, we have Close the Loop, ASX code CLG. Close the Loop is an innovative materials recovery company specializing in the collection and recycling of toner and inkjet cartridges, toner bottles, as well as other print consumables, cosmetics, batteries, and more. Joining me this afternoon from Close the Loop is CEO Joe Foster. Joe joined Close the Loop in late 2021 and brings a breadth of experience from a management-based background. Welcome to the conference, Joe, and over to you. Sorry, you're just on mute there, Joe.
Thank you very much, and appreciate the opportunity to talk about our business, Close the Loop. Thank you for the introduction. So really, Close the Loop essentially is a combination of two companies that merged together, the OF Pack business, which is a flexible packaging business, and the Close the Loop operations, as Banjo introduced at the start in terms of printer cartridges and toner plast and so forth. Essentially what it is really the business is made up of two different individual business types, namely the packaging side, which is the flexible packaging soft plastic material that you would typically see for breakfast muesli. You will see it for pet food. You'll also see for seafood packaging and coffee packaging that we manufacture in Australia and offshore in Vietnam and China. And then we have the recovery and the recycling business, which is the Close the Loop operations that we have in Australia, Europe, and also in Belgium. And we also have a recovery facility, which is for paper, board, and corrugate that we operate a facility out of Melbourne here in Victoria. With regards to our manufacturing facilities, on the packaging side, as I mentioned, we manufacture in Melbourne, but also in Vietnam and in China. But we have a wide expansion base in terms of our exports around the world. We not only just sell into Australia, but we sell across into Europe, America. We have a business in South Africa called Foster International Packaging. And we also have a very strong hold across Europe in terms of our flexible packaging offering. In fact, quite recently, we opened up a flexible packaging business in America called Close the Loop Packaging. And we will be doing exactly the same here in Europe, where we will open up Close the Loop Packaging business in Europe. What do we really do in a nutshell? Basically, what we do is we turn soft plastic, consumer waste plastic materials into roads, namely through toner plast, which I'll touch on a little bit later on. We are an award-winning company for our sustainable packaging around innovation and ideas in terms of bringing new packaging materials to the market that are more recyclable friendly and also curbside recyclable, which doesn't exist across Australia. We're basically converting existing customers to meet the sustainable packaging needs and the targets around 2025. So from a regulatory tailwind point of view, our business Close the Loop group is very strong and very well positioned as we're very much involved in the circular economy around circular integration. We have auditing on a regular basis. Close the Loop was found 21 years ago with the promise of zero waste to landfill, and in fact get audited on a regular basis through our OEMs, which is the original equipment manufacturers, namely companies that provide the cartridges to our businesses across Australia, Belgium, and North America. In fact, we are the largest recycler of consumable products, namely printer cartridges around the world. We process in the region of 2 million cartridges across our two sites in our three sites in Australia, Belgium, and America. And we have a registered check-in where 90% of the cartridges that come to our processing plant has to be registered, and we feed that data back to the OEMs and then collect a fee for actually physically recycling these materials. We work with government at the moment on a cosmetics recycling feasibility study, and we expect to do some trials very soon. And we are obviously collaborating with clients on very difficult to take back consumable products, namely at this stage, the packaging materials, the flexible packaging soft materials, which is something that we're working very strongly with regards to cross-selling opportunities. We educate as many people as we can, not just in Australia, but around the world in terms of ideas and in terms of new sustainable packaging, and certainly talking about the circular economy. And we're certainly investing in the circular economy through future acquisitions and mergers around packaging and recycling businesses. And of course, as we're going along this journey, which is a great journey, by the way, we're learning as much as we can. So basically the businesses that we have currently at the moment, we've got 9 different individual businesses. And the nice thing about the business is that our business is really, we see ourselves as the only ASX listed company that provides what we believe is the end-to-end solution. So what we say about end-to-end solutions, that when we're creating the packaging material, we're creating the packaging material with the end of life in mind, whereby we have the ability to recover this material. In fact, in Australia, we've got over 60,000 collection sites through our program for our cartridges and ink cartridges and so forth. We've got 200 collection sites in North America. The ability to reuse these materials, and essentially the holy grail is where we see eventually putting packaging into packaging. What's very important across the 9 companies that we operate is that all these businesses have to be fully integrated and fully involved in what we believe is a true circular economy. And of course, closing the loop is very important for us. What's quite interesting is every time we discuss opportunities within the marketplace, either through the OEMs, which is the original equipment manufacturers, or certainly our packaging clients, the need for circular economy and the need for sustainability and recyclability is top of the list. Certainly, as I mentioned, looking towards the regulatory tailwinds into the future, we have some great opportunities as we are well positioned in Australia, America, and Belgium to actually bring in other products which are very difficult to recycle, namely difficult consumable products. Some opportunities that we're working on at the moment is power tools, cosmetics, as I mentioned earlier on, and even e-waste as well. So with that in mind, the industry standard in terms of recycling, or what we call a take-back program, is very linear. And what we've experienced around the world is that there's many companies that offer a take-back program. What tends to happen with these take-back programs is they either end up in waste to energy, or they go into secondary products, which is not really true circular, or in a lot of cases, very sadly, they end up in landfill. What we've got through closed loop operations around the world is we have the facility and the infrastructure to physically recycle these materials and turn them back into what we believe is a really true tangible product. So at the moment in our operation in Melbourne, we take in cosmetics currently, we're taking in soft plastics, which in fact is your consumer waste plastic material. I'm sure most of you are aware of the program that's in place where you can take back your waste plastics to Coles and Woolworths. That plastic is actually baled and collected by RedCycle. We are a strong partner with the RedCycle, and in fact, we are the largest user of the RedCycle material through our closed loop operation in Melbourne. What we also do with this material is we mix this soft plastic material with some other ingredients, the toner from the cartridges as a great example, and some other key ingredients, and we make toner plast, which I'll touch on a little bit later on, which is quite an interesting project that we've been able to achieve over a number of years. What we do with these materials is we put them through our recycling program. In some cases, we harvest these materials to reuse and remanufacture. In some cases, we harvest these materials to take some parts, or we physically recycle, grind these materials down and separate the metals, the different types of plastics, and then put them back into the true circular economy. What we do is we have the ability to sell back these materials in Australia, Belgium, and America, but we also manufacture what we said is toner plast, which is a road additive, asphalt additive that we use here across Australia, and in fact has been proven to actually give excellent efficiency in terms of longevity in the roads. We've seen anything between 20 and 30% longevity of the roads. Not only does it improve the performance of the road, but also improves the longevity, which is quite a good factor. Once the road reaches its life cycle, the material is physically removed and then also can be physically recycled yet again, which makes it really true circular. When we talk about urban mining, that's really what we're all about. As we mentioned, we take difficult to recycle consumable products. We've got the infrastructure already across our 3 different sites, so it is not a problem for us to bring in e-waste. Power tools, we've done a very interesting program to recycle power tools. We've got a batteries take back program on the go at the moment. We're even talking about mobile phone cover cases and eyewear glasses as well, that we're doing some different programs at the moment. So we've got a number of opportunities that are in our favor. And certainly looking at from a European perspective, which in fact is where I am at the moment, the legislations in Europe is pretty strong with regards to zero e-waste to landfill, and cartridges, printer cartridges, categorized in that particular sector. So therefore, all printer cartridges must go through some form of recycling. And we've got some really interesting products that we've got on the go with regards to true circular economy. And you know, I keep talking about true circular economy because really the businesses and the future around the closed the loop business is very much about being ahead and in the front with regards to offering these individual take-back programs. Where we are positioned, as I mentioned, we've got a facility in North America, a facility in Europe. We've got also sales and facilities in South Africa, Vietnam, and China, and of course across Australia and a number of sites. In the short term, where we see the future potential growth, lots of opportunities in Europe, as I mentioned, certainly when we consider what's happening from a regulatory tailwind point of view. They've got very much major challenges across Europe to find solutions for zero waste and landfill, particularly in the products that we offer. North America, I mentioned we've opened up a packaging business quite recently in America called Closed Loop Packaging, and we have some other interesting opportunities in terms of future acquisitions around circular economy, and that is to look at specializing in recycling across different states in America and of course into Canada. The idea, of course, what we would see in terms of our future, looking at revenue in our business models at the moment, of course, the Australian business across all the different units that we have would be the largest revenue generator at this particular stage. But the closed loop revenue at this stage, the highest revenue comes from North America. Of course, it's a much bigger scale, but we would see Europe scaling across to the same level as what we are doing in North America in terms of the true potential for rollout programs with regard to take back of cartridges as well as other e-waste opportunities. In South Africa, again, we have some great opportunities. In fact, that's where the OF Pack business was established 24 years ago, and we got a very, very strong position in the market in South Africa, selling sustainable packaging and general flexible packaging material into the food and the non-food sector. The ideal opportunity there would be to look at rollout programs in South Africa, whereas in fact, quite interesting is that that country is quite forward with regards to its sustainability challenges and its sustainability goals towards meeting the targets of 2025. And again, in Australia, we have some good opportunities to look at further acquisitions within the packaging space and also within the recycling space as well. So we're really on a journey, and we really want to take our business to quite a large level over the course of the next couple of years. You would have seen the numbers that when we listed on the stock exchange, and of course, the revenue of our business is going quite strong, which I'll touch on in a second. Some of the big brands that we work with across the world, we work obviously with Canon, Xerox, HP. In fact, some of the contracts that we've got with the OEMs are international based contracts. And the nice thing about these contracts is that we've been working with these clients for the last anything between sort of 10, 15, or even in some cases 20 plus years, which has been pretty strong from a supply chain point of view. We work very, very well with the local retail chains in Australia to try and help them with the solutions around sustainability. And what is also quite nice is that we're starting to introduce the cross-selling opportunities between each individual company from the 9 different brands that we offer into the market. A great example, as I mentioned earlier on, of course, is our Tonoplast, and what we also have a product called the Orflex. And this is really true circular. Our ability to work with individual packaging companies, and these individual, when I say packaging companies, customers that are taking the flexible packaging material from the OF Pack business, the ability for us to physically take back and develop individual programs with these companies whereby we can actually collect the waste, consumer waste plastic material, and we can turn it into the Tonoplast, as I mentioned, for the roads, and also an Orflex, which is also a very interesting project that we worked on about 6 to 8 months ago, whereby we developed the plastic material for rigid injection molded plastics and worked with a contract with Coles to make the plastic shopping trolleys, which has been rolled out to a number of different units across Victoria. I think what is also important to say is that when we start looking at the soft plastics and the take-back programs through RedCycle here in Australia, is that we're very limited in terms of what we can do with the soft plastics across Australia. I do believe, and certainly from our point of view at the Close the Loop Group, is that the Orflex and the Tonoplast is really a true great solution. So by creating these opportunities, what we believe the future of working with these soft plastics take-back programs is our ability to develop eventually what we call is the holy grail, which is packaging to packaging. Eventually having that material and put it back into the main packaging stream is where we see an unbelievable opportunity, not just in Australia, but around the world, because the targets of 2025 for zero waste to landfill is a major challenge. We're seeing some countries introducing taxes on packaging material that does not contain any recycled content. Here in Australia, we work very close with APCO, which is the Australian Packaging Covenant, which is a government-led initiative, and have developed the targets that by 2025, all packaging material must be reusable, recyclable, or compostable. And all packaging material must contain up to 50% recycled content. Now, that is a very hard challenge. There's no doubt about it. It's okay to achieve it when it comes to glass bottles, aluminium cans, and cardboard and corrugated. When it comes to soft plastics, it's a major challenge because you've got issues with regards to contamination and, of course, many different types of mixed plastics. Here in Australia, as you may be aware, the exportation of mixed plastics took place a number of years ago. And in fact, just quite recently, a year ago, there was the ban of the mixed plastic shreds that was being exported out of Australia. So there's a major race on the go at the moment to find the solution with regards to true circular economy. And I do think from close the loop point of view, this is where we're ideally positioned. So of course, we look at the flexible packaging material, as I mentioned. We're working with the greater city of Bendigo, where we can take all of their plastic material, which is actually being diverted from landfill, and putting it into Tonoplast and bringing that Tonoplast back to Bendigo, where this product can actually be used back into roads. We're working with the OEMs, with Canon, we're working with Amazon, where we can take the waste plastic and put it through our processing plant in Victoria, in Somerton, which is where we've got the ability to process this Tonoplast on a 24/7 basis. And at this particular moment, the demand for the product is obviously quite strong. We sort of looked, so I want to just finish off really on the numbers, and I think we've done exceptionally well. What we've actually done when we look at, when we went to the market, we were looking at it like a $72 million revenue, we believe, by this year, as a result of taking on Crasty & Co., which is a company that we purchased quite recently, and also Oceanic Agency, which is a company that we purchased at the time of the listing. We believe we would finish anywhere between $95 to $100 million. And in fact, if anybody would like to drill in on the numbers, I'm very happy to take the numbers offline. I'd be happy to discuss that on a one-to-one basis. But certainly our revenue is up. You can see by 22%, 22.6%. EBITDA is up on 51%. And of course, the MPBT is up by 67.7%. And we got very strong cash in the business. So certainly we are believed to be on track to exceed our prospectus budgets, no doubt about it. And we got great, strong year-on-year growth across all of the individual units, which is great. So I think from a cash flow point of view, we're looking at a very positive position going into the future, and will allow us to focus on the major growth plan. As I mentioned earlier, we are extremely ambitious about the future of the Close the Loop group. So when people ask me, just to finish up, why should we invest in your company? I think we've got a significant market opportunity around sustainability, and sustainability within our group, because it works between the packaging side of the business and also the collection side of the business. I do see us as a leading urban miner within that space. I think we've got significant opportunities for growth across both packaging and the specialized recycling. Very lucky to be part of a very good expert management team. In fact, we are an owner-led business. In fact, myself sitting at just under 20% of shares within the business. We're well capitalized to pursue future growth, no doubt about it. And I do see we've got a great track record in terms of cash generation. And the one really final point about our business, and that's why I'm very fortunate to be in this position and not only be part of the management team, but we got a very strong commitment from all of our divisions around innovation, and the innovations around the sustainability and essentially closing the loop and looking for true opportunities to be very much circular integrated. So with that, I'd like to thank you so much for allowing me to present our business, and very happy to answer any questions that may come across. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your time, Joe. It was great to get a bit of an insight into Close the Loop, and it's awesome seeing some strong growth potential. I'll just move on to some questions straight away. Can you help us better understand the various growth rates and margin profiles within each of the businesses?
Yes, indeed. It's very interesting. The growth rates, I mean, if we look at the 9 different business units, I mean, we had one business unit that had a growth rate of nearly 50%, which is quite interesting. That's our local manufacturing business, but the revenue stream for that business is quite small, right? So one would be very ambitious to want to achieve those type of revenue streams. But generally speaking, in terms of our margins, across the business. We are sort of getting between a 30 to 35% margin, and it's fairly consistent between the packaging side and also the recycling side of the business as well.
Thanks for that insight, Joe. From a competitive perspective, what is the risk of a larger, better funded players within the waste management sector innovating and evolving to compete?
I think that is possible. There's no doubt about it. But I think in terms of the space that we operate in, and I think that's quite interesting about our business, that we are the only company that offers end-to-end solutions. So there is companies that are specializing in waste. There's no doubt about it. We've got competitors in the packaging space that are specializing in true circular, more sustainable packaging, but they don't offer the full gambit. So it is a specialized space. And just to give you an idea, just to enter into the collection systems and the infrastructure that we've got across our 3 sites for closed loop operations, I mean, you wouldn't get much change at a $35 million investment, plus the value of the IP that we have behind the actual physical collection and the identification of these cartridges as well. So it's quite an investment to get involved in this particular type of business from that point of view. So we always want to innovate. We always want to stay ahead of the game.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Joe. Just got one more question. You alluded to a favorable regulatory environment in Europe. How important is this in order to scale, and what's the situation currently like in Australia?
Well, it's the regulatory tailwinds in Europe. We have the e-waste one I mentioned, and that's extremely strong. There's no doubt about it. I'm here in Europe at the moment, and we had some very interesting discussions about what we can do to position ourselves and from a favorable point of view. Australia, I think, follows. I would believe honestly that Australia follows very much on the back of what's happening in Europe. America is slightly behind, but Europe certainly is the leading in that particular space. And the pushback from a regulatory point of view in Australia is becoming very strong. You know, we see it from the big brands which we work with, and they're saying that the packaging, we want sustainability within our packaging. The OEMs, you know, the push from the OEMs, the original equipment manufacturers, want us to provide them with real true data and proof and certification of true circular economy in terms of recycling of those types of materials. Just to give you an idea, like toner, the actual toner that's in these toner cartridges is an extremely difficult product to recycle. And hence the reason why we developed Tonerplast. The promise of zero waste to landfill over the last 21 years has been quite a gig for the business to maintain that. And all I can say is thank goodness we have, because now we've got a really true solution, because toner is actually microplastics. And we all know about the dangers of microplastics leaking into the environment. That's one thing that we are very fortunate about in terms of wanting to control that for the future.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Joe. Appreciate your time today. And thanks for giving us an insight into Close the Loop and your business operations. Thank you. And I'd like to thank the audience for listening to my story. I really appreciate it. Have a nice day, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Cheers. Bye-bye.